Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to understand about the Juvenile Justice Board. So, the Juvenile Justice Board is established under the Juvenile Justice Act 2015. So, the board is a quasi judicial authority which is established to deal with the cases involving children below the age of 18 years, that is, the CCL, to deal and inquire and dispose of the cases relating to the child in conflict with law. That is, a child below the age of 18 years who is alleged to have committed any offense. So, the board inquires into the case and disposes of the case, and also it has the powers to pass appropriate orders. So, the Juvenile Justice Board is not like a criminal court. The proceedings could be informal and child friendly. So let us start from the establishment of the board. So according to section 4 of the act, the state government is mandated to establish one or more juvenile justice board in every district independent of the provisions in the code of criminal procedure. So, it is the duty of the state government to establish one or more juvenile justice board to deal with the cases relating to a juvenile. And the composition of the board is each board is comprised of metropolitan magistrate or judicial magistrate of first class with at least 3 years of experience and two social workers, one of whom must be a woman. So, in cases of a metropolitan area, a metropolitan magistrate will be appointed, and in cases of districts, a judicial magistrate first class will be appointed. So, he shall be having experience of at least 3 years, and there shall be two social workers, and among the two, one shall be a woman. So, this is the composition of the board. Eligibility. Social workers must have at least 7 years of active involvement in health, education, or welfare activities related to children, or be practicing professionals with a degree in child psychiatry, sociology, or law. Here we have understood under the composition that there shall be at least two social workers. So, the eligibility of that social workers is that they shall be in active involvement for at least 7 years in these areas, that is health, education, welfare activities, etc. Or they can be also any professionals in child psychology, psychiatry, or sociology or law. And the next is disqualification. No individual is eligible if they have history of a human rights or child rights violations, conviction of an offense involving moral turpitude, removal or dismissal from the government service, or engagement in child abuse, child labor, or other immoral acts. So, any of the persons committing these offences shall be disqualified for becoming the member of Juvenile Justice Board. And the next is the term of office. So, the term of office for board members along with the resignation process is determined by the prescribed rules. The state government has the authority to terminate the appointment of any board member after an inquiry if they misuse their power. So, if the state government thinks that the members have misused their powers, then they can be removed from that position. And if they fail to attend proceedings without valid reasons, attend less than prescribed number of sittings, become ineligible under specific criteria during their term. So, under these circumstances, a board member can be removed. So, as we have understood the composition, eligibility for becoming a member of the board, let us understand the powers and functions of the board. So, the board constituted for any district shall have the power to deal exclusively with all the proceedings under this act relating to children in conflict with law in the area of jurisdiction of such board. So, the state government can appoint one or more juvenile justice board, then the board can exercise its powers within that jurisdiction. The powers conferred on the board by or under this act may also be exercised by the High Court and the Children's Court when the proceedings come before them under Section 19 or in appeal, revision, or otherwise. So, the orders passed by the JJB, that is the Juvenile Justice Board, can be appealed or revised by either the High Court or Children's Court under Section 19 of the Juvenile Justice Act. So these are the powers of the board. So now let us understand the functions of the board. So the first function of the board is to adjudicate and dispose of cases of children in conflict with law as per Section 14, and to transfer to the Child Welfare Committee matters where a child in conflict with law is also in need of care. And so the first important function of the board is to dispose of the cases relating to a child in conflict with law. And the second is to transfer any case in which the board thinks that the child in conflict with law is in need of care and protection. So in that cases, it will transfer that case to the CWC, that is the Child Welfare Committee. And the next function is dispose of the matter and pass a final order including an individual care plan for rehabilitation and follow-up. So after completing the inquiry, it can dispose of the cases and pass appropriate orders. And the next function is conduct inquiries to declare fit persons for the care of children in conflict with law. So it is the duty of the board to declare fit persons, that is either family or any other person, to take care of the child in conflict with law, and conduct inspections at least once a month of residential facilities for children in conflict with law. Regular inspections of jails meant for adults to ensure no child is lodged there. So the board shall also conduct inspections. So in cases of residential facilities, that is in cases of special homes, for every month the child shall be the place of residence, the place of, so that place shall be inquired so as to know whether the child is in safe conditions or not. And also the board shall conduct inquiries in normal jails so as to ensure that no child is kept in the normal jail which is meant for adults. And the next function of the board is to order the police to register an FIR for offences against any child in conflict with law, any child in need of care and protection. So the board, the Juvenile Justice Board, can also order the police to register an FIR for offences which are caused against any child in conflict with law. That is, if any offense is committed against a child in conflict with law, for example, beating a child in the police custody or any other offenses against the child, shall be registered by the police. And if the police finds any child who is in need of care and protection, the police shall give a written complaint to the CWC, that is the Child Welfare Committee, and any other functions as may be prescribed by the state government through notification. So these are the functions and powers of the Juvenile Justice Board. And the next is responsibilities of the board. So it is the responsibility of the board to ensure informed participation of child and parent or guardian at every step. So at every step, the child and the parents or guardians of the child shall be involved in the decision making. And the next is to ensure protection of child's rights during apprehension, inquiry, aftercare, and rehabilitation. So it is the duty of the board to ensure the child's safety and to ensure availability of legal aid through legal services institution. So the board shall also ensure free legal aid to the children, as we have understood in the last class that providing the fundamental rights to the children is an important principle which is provided by the Act, and to provide an interpreter or translator wherever necessary. So either the interpretation or the translation could be of the language or about the legal process and the legal terminology. To interpret the situation to the child, a person shall be appointed by the board. And direct probation officer, child welfare officer, social worker to conduct a social investigation and submit a report within 15 days. So a social investigation shall be conducted by either of these officers within 15 days from the order of the board. And the last responsibility is that ensure that orders focus on rehabilitation and social reintegration of the child. So, the orders which are passed by the board shall mainly focus on the rehabilitation and reintegration of the child. That is, a child shall be sent back to the society after rehabilitation. So, this is about the Juvenile Justice Board and its powers, functions, and responsibilities. I hope you all have understood it. That's all for this class. Thank you.